So here's what you're going to need to do your practice problems. With the atom, here, like we said earlier, you have 7 energy levels. So here's the 7 energy levels. There is a different number of sublevels in each energy level. Okay? You don't need to memorize this. At some point, I'll teach you a trick in just a little bit that will help you to memorize it or come up with a way to get this. But you can look at it now and at least know that it follows a pattern for a while. Do you see that? There's 1 sublevel in the first level, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 4 in the fourth. Then what happens to it? It goes back down, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2. It repeats itself the other way. There's a pattern to the sublevels that go in it. You know the order that we've been writing down is S, P, D, and F, right? You always have to start with S. So if the first level has 1 sublevel, the only thing that it can have is S. The second level has 2. Well, you have to start with S, so it has S, and the next thing in line will be the P. If the third level has 3, then it'll have SPD. If the fourth has 4, then it'll have all of them, S, P, D, F. And then we just repeat. You always have to start with S. If you have something else after that, then you'll have a P. If you have more, then D, and then F. Okay? When we do some practice problems right now, you can work off of this from your notes in order to do it. How we get this over here, this is just like what you learned in middle school or physical science, 2, 8, 18, and 32. How we're getting that is from this. What we just said was that every orbital can hold how many electrons? 2. So we know that there's 2 electrons per orbital, right? Okay, the pattern of the orbitals was 1, 3, 5, and 7, correct? All right. So how many orbitals are in this S? 1 and 2 electrons in there. We come up with 2 electrons. All right, let's do that for this one. How many orbitals are in the S? 1 times 2 electrons. Okay. How many orbitals are in the P? 3 times 2 electrons. We'll do the math of that. That's 2 plus 6 is 8. Well, this one's going to be the same. 1 times 2 for the P. 3 orbitals times 2 electrons each for the, well, I said that for the P. 1 times 2 for the S. 3 times 2 for the P. Plus, we're going to add D to it. D has 5 with 2 each. So that's 8 plus 10 is 18. You getting the idea here? Okay, I don't know that I have room to do all of the math on this one, but we'll find out. We've got 1 times 2 for the S. We've got 3 orbitals with 2 electrons each for the P. We've got 5 orbitals with 2 electrons each for the D. And we've got 7 more orbitals with 2 electrons each for the F. So that's 18 plus 14 is 32. So, if you're asked questions about how many electrons can go in an energy level, it may actually be easier to memorize 2, 8, 18, and 32, especially if you've learned that before, than to do all of this. But if you're asked for how many sublevels there are in an energy level, for now, just look right here. Okay? The practice problems that I just gave you, like one of them says, how many sublevels are in the following principal energy level? The word principal doesn't matter. Like, you could basically cover up the word and just read it as energy level. So when like 1A says how many sublevels are in N equal 1, look right here. What does N represent? So we could write over here N equal 1, N equal 2. So on your paper, when it says N equals 1, that means how many sublevels are in energy level 1? What's the answer? 1. If it asks you to name the type of sublevel, what would you say? S. It doesn't ask you that, but if it did, that's what you do. Go ahead, try your hand at 1 through 3. You can use this, and you can use what's up above it. It's going to be helpful to you.